Douglas on that is on as well.
I think the the big thing with your sphere or your pipeline, I mean, honestly, this is, so when you're new, right, or if you're under 100 million in sales, I would say you just call it your sphere, right? Your sphere. This becomes your database. So everyone you've met, everyone you're going to meet, enters into your database. The bigger this grows, it gets to be 3, 4, 5, 10,000 people in your database. Whether you call it your sphere or your database, top agents from across the entire country, this is the #1 source. Whether someone's doing 5 million in sales or 350 million in sales, the one common thing is their database is almost always their #1 source. So building your pipeline, it literally is the key. And so your pipeline really is your sphere, or your pipeline is your sphere and leads, right? So, but your sphere, the people that know you, like you, and trust you, they really are, they're the easiest to convert. They're the most dollar productive. I put together another, few $1 million worth of real estate this week, literally from a client that I met at one of my networking events, a decade or 9 years. So time and again, you hear agents say, I don't really have a sphere. I just moved here. I don't care if you have 9 people, right? I mean, Jesus had 12. So I mean, this doesn't take 1 million people in your database or your sphere. You just need to have some well-positioned people who care about you, like you, trust you. So start where you are. My buddy moved to Florida. That's what I told him. Go through your phone. Like, yeah, you don't have like a ton of people, but who do you know that lives there? And then who do you know that's well-positioned? Start with them. Because if you start with the people you know, and then they also happen to be well-positioned, those people are in a position to help you. What I mean by well-positioned, and so it's people who are, they own a company, they're in a leadership position, they're in an HR position, they're squeaky, noisy, loud, super talkative. Those are all like well-positioned people. It could be the waitress, the bartender that you know, the most charismatic people person, the person that gives you advice that you don't want.
Your hairdresser.
Your hairdresser. We'll go through a whole bunch of people as examples, but just understand, like, I believe your #1 thing to do as a realtor is to do this. Like, if there's only one thing, if you could only do one thing, they drop you off on an island and you are going to start over. This is and would be my only one thing. If I move to Arizona next week, have a midlife crisis, and start over in real estate, I will just figure out how to increase the number of people that know me, like me, and trust me. And you start with the ones that you already know. If I move to Arizona, I have, like, if that would just use that as an example. I have a dozen people that I know. Now, 4 or 5 of them are top realtors in that area. And then a few of them are relatives. Each one of them, though, if I just called my few relatives that live in Arizona, who do you know that I should know? Right? Their boss, their cousin, their mom, their uncle. Like, who is it that they know that would be good for me to know? Who owns their company? Who's their their leader at work? This is, grab a notebook, a spreadsheet, jot down all the names you can think of. Every week, Luetta and I have a meeting every week to review numbers. During that meeting, we also review my pipeline with our salespeople on our team. We review their pipeline every single month. The whole goal in reviewing their pipeline every month is it's to sort of force them to have to update their pipeline. Like, so no one wants to show up to a meeting to review their pipeline and have nobody new. Like, it can't be the same meeting every single month. So if you have an accountability partner, if you have an accountability group, if your kids or your spouse want you to make more money and you want to make more money, then I would say have a meeting with your spouse, significant other, or kids where you review your pipeline, and it sure as hell better be better. Like, it better be growing. So right now we have, 4,375 people in our database. We have 65 people in our current A's. We have 77 people in our current B's. Like, what are the pipelines? And these numbers should grow. What you measure will expand. And so if you're looking at it, if we're meeting with our people every month, and Louetta and I have to meet every single week to go through mine, the goal is I'm adding 4, 5, 6 different leads, people. You're adding people to the database every single week. You're adding them to your sphere of influence.
Your goal should be, if you read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, take Gary Keller's advice, you should be adding a certain amount of new Mets every single week. And that number is based on what your goal is, your sales goal.
Yeah, so if you pay close attention to the daily activity record that we showed you guys a couple of weeks ago, the daily activity record has 2 boxes. You either set an appointment or update your pipeline. Now that could also say update the database. But the truth is, like, if you're making contacts, which is the key, right? So that's where all of this, the rubber meets the road if you actually make contacts. And when we're making contacts, there has to be some sort of a lever to say, okay, I made 15 contacts today. Of the 15 contacts, I had 1 person that was ready to make an appointment for 3 weeks from now. The remaining people, 6 people, we had like some sort of a conversation where I remembered that I don't have their spouse in the database. I remember that their spouse is also an executive at Target. We didn't get into that really, but I want to make sure I update, like, this person is a spouse that's an executive at Target. Does Target have a program for giving back to their employees, right? Does Target have a give back program for their employees where I could give a discount, right, to all Target employees that want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Like, is that an idea, right? Could we do that for any company? Can you do that? Would we as realtors be willing to have a program for a company that might give us access to thousands of people? Of course, right? We might even do it for hundreds, right? We might even have that program available if they have 90 employees. So you can see where, do we have the spouse? Do we have the partners? Do we have the coworkers? Do we have the friends? Sometimes if you're scrolling through Facebook, have you ever scrolled through Facebook with a notepad to add people to your database? Because if you haven't, then we're not focusing on business, right? So rather than looking for things to like, let's look for people to add. What are we doing to invest in our future? The only thing that you will ever own is a database that's full. And the thing that we recognize, at least after all these years of doing this business, is the vast majority of us as realtors, or as any business really, your database is just missing one key ingredient. Data. Right? Like, that's the thing missing from everyone's database.
And the good acronym to utilize is FORD. So it's family. So talk about the family, their occupation. What do they like to do recreationally? And then what are their dreams or their goals? So family, occupation, recreation, dreams. If you can put that down and just remember, like, this is stuff that I need to know about each of these, that's going to help you keep in touch with them throughout the future.
We talked about this again, I think it was maybe a couple of weeks ago during the class, like, if you're researching duplexes, fourplexes, whatever, like, if you haven't looked for an investment deal lately yourself, then just do that this afternoon. And once you find the best one that you can find, whether it's coming soon or something like that, post a link and just post, like, who do you know that's dreaming of being an investor? I was researching for another client. I was researching investment opportunities and came across this one. Who do you know who's always wanted to make some passive wealth or invest in real estate? Now, that type of a post with a picture and an idea and something that you just looked up, you're asking someone to be specific about who they're looking for. And it may be the person that you just talked to on Thursday who has a spouse at Target, shares that or sees that on their Facebook, but their friend at work has always thought about buying investment properties, but they don't know where to start. Okay, so kids, friends, or parents, we just had this happen, maybe a few weeks ago or something. We were giving out ice cream cones or sundaes or whatever. Oh no, it was the reverse. bold thing. So people were calling us to win $1,000 or whatever. I have this lady, so I'm at a golf outing that day for charity. And so I forgot when I said that I was going to be available, and we had posted, hey, call me during this time. And so a couple of the people that call, one of them is a lady I've known for a long time. She's super well connected, right? Super high up at her job. And I didn't even have her in the database like at all. I didn't have anything. And I've known her for years. So here's an example. Like I brought her, we do a pie giveaway in the fall. I brought her pies and stuff. Like I guess I just kind of forgot. Like I probably texted her. I just didn't have her formally in the database. So if I die in a crash, like the team would never know anything about her. And there's probably another 100 of those that are just missing. So how do we make sure, like, are your kids' teachers in there? Their school workers, the school nurse. Like, do we have these people in there? Because each one of these people knows 3, 4, 5 people. If you're on, if the easiest way is to be like the team manager, right? So if your kids play sports, just offer to be like the team manager, because the team manager has to do the communication. Now, do the damn communication from your work email, not your personal email. It just has to have your work signature. I just wanted to let you guys know. I know it has nothing to do with the team, but I wanted to know to let you know we're giving away $1,000 this week. Like you could send that to the golf team. You could send that to the football team, right? We had a football banquet yesterday. I sponsored a whole, plus my group of friends sponsored. We sponsored a lot, so we actually got like super huge name recognition and a big shout out during the dinner. Like we're like royalty because we donated more money than probably other classes would have ever done. And like, but that stuff really matters because then it's like when you're talking to people, they're like, oh, you're with the 91 group. Like all we did was just have a bunch of us donate money. So it wasn't very much each. So who's your extended family? When you go to those golf outings, so like I was there yesterday, this exercise should be done every single morning because I can think of 5 people that I talked to yesterday that I'm not 100% sure of the names. And that should be the topic of discussion this week. It's like, do I have those 5 people? Send them a handwritten card. Say it was great to see you at the golf. Like it's never too late. Like you may have consciously ignored them from a business standpoint for the last 7, 8, 9 years, however long you've been selling real estate. And it's okay. They didn't know that they were supposed to have been marketed to. So if you start today, it will be fine. So we're forgettable. Your extended family, your neighbors, friends and acquaintances in social groups. So neighborhood associations, joining the board if you're at a townhome association or if you live in a townhome, if you're an apartment, any sort of group that you can join where you volunteer or give some time, I think is huge. My networking group, I talk about it all the time. We meet every single Thursday. It's an hour and a half long. Gives me an opportunity to see my brother and my sister every single week. Not that I already see them a ton anyway. But it's just planned. It's always my Thursday mornings. That's the only thing I do on Thursday. So it's just planned. And so that regular interaction with people is really, that's a big thing. Your doctor, your dentist, places that you go. And, a friend of mine said one time, this is back when we had checkbooks, now I don't know if anyone writes any checks, but go into your bank, right? Just go into your bank, go into your all of your expenses and just see who you pay every month. Make sure that everyone that you pay is in your database. You might not have US Bank in there if you have your mortgage or something through US Bank. You may not have them in there, but you may know the person who did your loan. You may know the person that did your line of credit for your equity line. Are they in your database? Like, we are forgettable people. And when we don't take the time to actually think like everyone that we write checks to, if they're a daycare provider, didn't you sell those to someone that you knew that was someone like a not daycare, but some sort of school or something that somebody went to?
Yep. It was a teacher at this daycare.
And it's just, and do you remember how it came up or why it came up?
Yes, because I talked about it all the time. And I always wore like the Jason Borman t-shirts or the Jason Borman jackets. And she was like, oh, you're real estate. And I said, yes, absolutely. And then also I've taught Sully to say, so what does your mom do? My mom sells homes, you know, so.
So there you go, like,
So you-
get your kids to start.
So he told the gal, and she came up to me. And I thought, oh,
What's his commission?
yeah, right.
That's right. He
He
gets
just
Dairy
wants
Queen.
stories.
Yeah, they get Dairy Queen in the squirt gun.
Yep.
Yeah, so kids are pretty simple, you know, I mean, just let them know. And, you know, I think, but all people are simple, like a lot of people really would like to help you, but it's your job to ask them for help. And so you have to remember, like, how can I slow this down to say, you know what, like, I need help with something. Like, most people, especially guys, like to help with stuff that isn't done, right? For the ladies that, like, I mean, like, you just tell someone,
Great
hey.
stuff to help.
Right, well,
Fix
not so much, no, but you know what I mean, like, hey, you know, sometimes, you know, not to be stereotypical, but women like to talk about their feelings, talk whatever, but if you say that you have a problem, like, I need this fix, like, guys wanna fix them, right? So, you know, if you talk to someone, you say, hey, I really need help finding someone who's in the HR division at Anderson Windows. Well, you tell that to a guy, and they know someone who knows someone whose, you know, cousin is the director of HR at Anderson. Right? People who are well positioned or know people who are well positioned are easy to find. It's that, whatever that movie is, 7 Degrees of Separation or whatever, like, we're all fairly connected. It's just like those of us that spend more time bringing the connections together, you really find like, man, it's a small world. Yeah, I mean, it's super, super small. And so I think, you know, again, you can find a deal everywhere. But the people you already have in your tribe, like you already are paying people, you're already coaching with people, you're already spending your time at a wrestling meet or a golf meet or a softball meet. I mean, I think right now, like, I was just part of a trap team. And so one of the guys I golfed with yesterday was the coach of the trap team. And it's a good buddy of mine. He's a lender. And he knows I work with Brian, because Brian was obviously at the golf thing yesterday too. So like the two of them know that, but I'm thinking, even like, I've never really approached Andy. I've never tried to like get him, like, I don't know if he's in my database. I don't know. I mean, I know I have him in myself, but he's my kid's trap coach. He knows tons of people. He's in the mortgage business. I don't need to be his #1 realtor. Like, he'll never be my #1 lender, right? I already have my #1 and my #2, but could he be #3? Could I be his #4 realtor? Right? Like, I spent quite a bit of time yesterday talking to him just about investing. Like, why would you buy real estate like right now? Because we got into that conversation. Like, why would you buy right now? Do you think you should wait? And we got into that debate, which lasted us probably 45 minutes on the golf course. And it was really interesting to hear his opinion, which is dramatically different from mine. Right? But it's like, sometimes the problem is we tend to only associate with people who have the same opinions as us. So you know, listen to different people's opinions, because again, I should add him to the database. I should make sure that's just one that we need to obviously talk about on Friday, and just make sure, like, do I have all this contact information? Do I have his wife in there? Do I have their updated address? Like, I have all these things. It's like, but do I have it in a form where I could be the trusted resource from him from a real estate standpoint? Again, maybe only #4. Maybe their cousin is #2 to them or #1. And that's the problem. We don't add the baseball coach from our kids' team because we know his sister's a realtor. Who cares? Like, we don't even know if his sister's gonna be a realtor a year from now. Like, you could still add him to the list. It's not like, I mean, he's not gonna be crabby about it. He's just not gonna work with you. But if his sister gets out of the business, he might. If you refer someone, he may refer you to the sister's ex-boyfriend. Maybe he still fishes with the ex-boyfriend and wouldn't refer it to his sister, because obviously they wouldn't get along, but he'd refer it to you. So never underestimate the people that you can add to the list. Okay, next thing. What's the best way? So this is our plan to keep in touch with our sphere of influence or our database. This isn't a perfect plan. It's a work in progress. Yet if you don't have a plan, just start with this. So we do monthly mailings. I've done them since 1993. I used to draw them out myself, put them on the photocopier, and then, you know, send them out. folded the piece of paper and did all the mailings on my living room floor. With very rare exceptions, have we missed our monthly mailing? Usually because something just came up, we get super busy is usually the problem. But almost, I mean, we've had mailings going out to people every single month for 29 years. That's number one. You have to do a physical mailing. If you have 200 people in your database or 500, I don't care what the number is, they should be getting a mailing from you every single month. We send out a postcard one, you know, this month is a postcard, next month is a newsletter, next month. So that, and the only reason in the beginning, I would just do a letter, I put it in an envelope and stamp and then hand address it. Postcards are simple. It allows us to order 2-3 mailings at a time sometimes. We have 4,000 people in our mailing list. You can order 15,000 postcards and it just like you can almost order, like you can order 15,000 postcards and throw away 5,000 and still be money ahead from trying to buy 5,000. So that sometimes when you look at the cost difference, the more stuff you do. So you could buy mailings, you could buy say 4 mailings and run them 3 times each. So that could be your entire year. But what you find is your quantity sometimes can end up fixing. If you just say it's 50 cents per mailing, you're not going to have to spend more than that, but let's just say that you budget 50 cents per mailing, you'll be fine. We try to keep ours, quite a bit cheaper than that, which is why we actually, buy some stuff. But every 2 months, send out something of value to your core advocates. So again, if you only have 50 people, you may determine that all 50 of those are really your core advocates. You may say, well, out of those 50, 10 of them are my core advocates. This is where you want to get really, really granular with like the quality of your database. What do you say? So the most recent one was an ice cream.
So it's not about first of all, it's not about what you're sending, it's about sending something of value that they can go, oh, that's nice. So we've done creative game design for film and restaurant. We did there was game search here, like history tours, all. So we sent them a $5 off coupon for that. So it was nice. So kind of before that was free Brunswick.
Yeah, in some places
not
like
at all about what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. Anything Bundt Cakes is nice because they allowed us to send out the coupon that you get a free Bundt cake, right? It costs, how much did they charge us? $5 or $7 or something? But no, they charge us half, but they charge $5 or $7 or whatever for a Bundt. Well, they had so many people show up and buy a $40 or $50 Bundt cake, a larger thing that would serve like an entire birthday party, because they really are good. If you've never had them, they're like ridiculous, right? You just go there, buy your wife one today. Like you'll earn some points. Just bring home cake for no reason, right? Like if you bring home cake, like cake is kind of like universal. Pretty much like everyone, you're gonna get a thing, right? I mean, if someone's gluten-free, they'll give it to someone who is. But those types of things, I mean, so it was a $5 or $7, whatever the hell they are, retail value. That's what we intended, right? We think 100, 200 people are going to do it. Well, you end up having 25 people go and get it, right? So 25 people, if it was $5 a piece, I mean, this would be 125 bucks. And I can't remember exactly how much it was, but what it was is, say it was 150 bucks we owed them, they only charged us 75. So they just said, well, they probably made enough money doing this thing. They're like, hey, if you want to do it again, let us know. Because they had so many people do it. Like no one's really getting out of their car and only going to get the free $5 thing. They just go and get the free $5 thing and then also buy a $30 cake or whatever. And so it's just something nice to do. And you hate to say, like, it's not like you're necessarily looking for everyone to take advantage of it. You're just looking for them to just know that like 4 times a year, you know, or 6 times, and 6 times a year, we're just giving them something of value. Something for $5, $10, $7, whatever. Go to Dairy Queen and get some, you know, coupons for a free Dairy Queen cone. It's nice if it can have kind of like a shelf life or an ending. And it's nice if you don't have to like prepay and then throw them away. Right? So don't think of something like, I'm going to buy these coupons for $5. Like most companies will just give you some sort of free coupon, free ice cream cone, free this, whatever. We do it at my dad's restaurant just to support them. And so we just pay face value.
And we get text messages, and you know, the agents get text messages like, thank you so much for the coupon, and then everything that we have sent, we have had somebody sending us messages. Really appreciate it.
It's just something simple. And so 2 times per month, you're going to send an email. So every 2 weeks, you're sending out, you know, basically market tips, things that are going on, decorating ideas. The people who have a lot of luck with this are the ones that do videos. And so if you could integrate this into your social media, probably do some sort of a video for 30 seconds or a minute and just talk about like a house you were in where they were putting on a deck and how much value does a deck add? How much value does a 4-season porch add? Keeping Current Matters puts together a lot of stats. I think that you can share some of that stuff in there, but this is like, we pay for a subscription to Keeping Current Matters, but I think like, for instance, our email newsletter, I think sucks, right? So like, I don't think ours is great. We still send it, it still goes, but we can make it so much more personal and better and make it more effective. The way you make it more effective is to actually like have yourself jump on a video for 30 seconds to a minute, talk about something important, and then send it to people. Like, because people will watch something that is like talking about the market, talking about something that they want. Should I buy an investment property right now?
And the quote in all reality, email is too low in openings. So that's why you do social media, physical mailings. Yeah. So no matter what you do, I mean, data across the board is that emails are low at open rates, but there are some people that still utilize and look at it.
Think like yourself. So the number one prospect for me, prospector of me, is a lender, right? I get so annoyed by it. Like if you ever think people are getting annoyed by you, be a realtor for like more than a year and just look at the amount of seething lenders you get breathing down your door every day, all day. Mostly via email and passive ways because they never have the courage to even call us, right? Like, so, but there's one, and I won't name names, but there's one that I haven't unsubscribed to his emails. And I got one today, which I saved because here's the thing he puts in. He only does bigger deals, like apartments, investments. He always describes a deal he did last month. So I think he must send it out like say twice a month, but they're always about deals, right? And it's kind of like, it just gives me an idea. Like, so it makes me think like, the thing I want to know is like, what's going on in the real estate market? Like what's happening? Like share with me something that's happening in the market. What are you seeing for shifts? What are you seeing for trends? So the only thing he talks about is the deal. Like this is the deal. So in the one that he did today, it was 100 and some unit apartment building. He was able to get them, basically he was able to get them financing at 4.25%. He got them a revolving line of credit. He was able to basically put together a deal to buy these people 100 doors. And I'm like really interested to know more, and I want to get more into like large scale investing myself. And so it's like, so I read his stupid emails because he talks about deals. And it's like he's teaching me something. And so then it's like, and I couldn't pick the guy out of a crowd of one person. Right? But I get his emails every 2 weeks and I have no idea how it got on the list. But that's how a lot of our clients feel. You know, I mean, you send out 500 emails and like 490 of them don't even have any idea why you're sending it.
And as they're deleting it, they see your name. And that's the whole goal. So when they're cleaning out their inbox, if you're one of them, they see your name.
Educate them.
Just getting in front of them is the important.
If you educate them, they might slow down. So 3 times per year, we have events. So I think, you know, make sure that you're sending, like the reason to do an event 3 or 4 times per year the reason you do it is only so you have a reason to contact your sphere every quarter with something other than real estate. This is the trick to making the follow-up calls. Because no one really wants to call people, especially the same people that are your very best people, your database, your sphere, however you want to look at it. You don't want to call your Uncle Tommy again for like the third time this year, right? Unless you're giving Tommy something away, like you're doing a coat drive, a school supply drive, which we have going on right now. It's super easy. All we're asking people to do is donate school supplies. We're basically telling a story about how some kids don't have school supplies. They live in areas where maybe they, don't have a notebook. They don't have anything. Like if you have kids and like this is your time, like this is when you're doing school supply stuff. Like if you're a parent, you're having to go do that stuff. And for a lot of people that are on a fixed income or a limited income, like going to spend a couple $100 is not something that they even have. Like that's not even like an option. So we give people who are more fortunate an opportunity to give to the less fortunate, which again, all you're doing is organizing a charity. I mean, it's the simplest, this is the simplest thing, you're not even giving anything away. What you can do, and what we do, we donate money to them, we donate supplies to them, and then we also will do more of a matching thing, plus we volunteer, so we pay everyone on the team, at least the administrative team, to go, and we're spending a half a day, right? So we're spending some money on this event, but not much. Not compared to, say, other events. Coat drive is the same thing. That's probably the least labor intensive of anything we do. That just gives you a chance. It's in the winter, sometime in December, January, you pick when it is, but give people a chance to just give away stuff that doesn't fit back in the closet, whatever, organize, anything that we can give and find a local charity. Maybe it's your church, maybe it's, wherever. There's lots of places that you can find that are, maybe it's a battered women's shelter, or there's, we do a couple of other things. We do a big golf event every year for a company that, well, it used to be called Umbrella House, and now it's called Renew Hope, but it's for people who have been victims of sex abuse. They've been in trafficking, whatever. So we support them by giving them a donation, and then we also do a golf tournament, which we allow people to donate to that, or we, are in the golf tournament. So, and then our pie giveaway. So the pie giveaway is probably our best attended event. We've been doing it the longest. Also most labor intensive. But it doesn't have to be. I mean, if you have 200 people in your database and 50 people or 20 people that you can give a free pie to, it goes a long ways.
And then again, you almost want nobody to show up. Because the whole goal is that you called them. That's the goal. The goal isn't to give away the most amount of pies. The goal is to call as many people as you possibly can.
Right, invite the most amount of people, have a very limited pickup time and window. And it's only, so we learned the hard way because we used to have it it was like when the first year we did it, it was like a 3-day event. So it was like 2 hours this day, 2 hours this day. And then we also, like the day before Thanksgiving, like they could also stop by the office and grab them for like an hour. It was like just a gong, because it was so much, you just have more notions, and you're not condensing it, all of your efforts, into a couple of hours. So condense it. 2 times per year we do the giveaways. So I mean, we did last year, we did a Yeti cooler, did one this spring as well. The snowblower or grill giveaway. You could give away a grill, give away a snowblower. We attached it to, giving us reviews, or they could get points for different things. You can do it any way you want, but I mean, just having some sort of a giveaway a couple of times a year.
We don't have that. Those like people really like it, where it's posted just on your Facebook page or your business page. How are you looking at phone calls? What's your system for that?
So we start a couple of weeks in advance of letting people know that coming soon, we're going to be having this Yeti cooler giveaway, and then tell them how they can earn points to get into the drawing. So if you send us in a referral, you get 10 entries into the drawing. If you put a review for us on Facebook, we get 5 entries. Go to Google review, it's another 5 entries. If you share this post with one. Something.
And do that post on social media.
Yep, social media, we also put it on our newsletter. So we make sure that it's on the newsletter. We put it, we make sure we're sharing it. And then a personal Facebook page.
Start with the newsletter, so that goes out print. I mean, so let's just say you're sending out your mailing August 5th, and you're gonna do this during the month of August. You know, ours is a little bit earlier, usually in the spring, and then, you know, again, when it's closer. What we found is when we were doing the snowblower giveaway, it was literally like, we got done with the pie event, which was a lot of work administratively, and then we were doing like the snowblower event like a couple weeks later. So we just need to space things a little bit more, but it's what we found is we just have to get away from having it all like the same month. So if you were gonna do a snowblower giveaway, you want to do that like December 1st, right? Run it for 2 weeks. It's kind of a cool thing someone could get for Christmas, whatever, as opposed to, but when you start at December 1st, just keep in mind, like you literally just did the Thanksgiving pie event November 22nd or whatever, 23rd. So it was like, we were just getting to be like a lot of stuff at the same time.
Halloween, so for the first one.
Exactly, and we had the Halloween thing, which was, you know, that's not even listed. So we have a plan associated for each thing. Luetta can send you the plan if you want the full plan. You want to send out your mailing, you know, saying that it's coming soon. You do your social media post saying that it's coming, you know, register for our event or register for our free giveaway. And then make sure you're texting, like make sure you're sending that, like set up the message, you know, hey, like again, make it sound like it just went to them, but it's something that you can text 100 times, right? So, hey, it should be however you talk. So however you talk, like, you know, it shouldn't say, hello, friend, hello, friend, I want you, that's not how you talk. Then don't have your stupid text message or emails go out like, you know what I mean? Like think about that, because I think that the biggest reason most people's stuff that just falls on flat, it falls flat, is because they don't take any time to think like, does this actually sound? If it doesn't, then they're not going to think it sounds like you need. And have the 5 best friends or relatives read it and see what they think. It should sound like you actually sent it just to them alone. You know, hey, wanted to make sure, I mean, when we do this, like we would do some of this stuff and we had a thing called slide dial where I would leave a voicemail or we would send text and it would come from me. I mean, when we did these best, I mean, I would get 100, 150 people texting me back like, hey, sorry, missed your message. Sorry. I mean, it's like, so we had to like because we did a really like super stealth voicemail, but like, hey, just wanted to check in, make sure you got our post about this, or I got our invite for the pie giveaway. Like, so I mean, people really do believe that it only got sent to them, which again, so when that happens, what you can't do is then when they call, you can't say, hey, yeah, sorry, I did like a whole slide thing, because that defeats the entire purpose, right? You really are looking for the 50 people to call you back and think that you actually called, because ultimately those are the 50 people. Yeah, it's so awesome to talk to you. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Can I get you registered for a free pie? Right? Do you want apple? Do you want pumpkin? Whatever. Like, I can do this. I'll just send you the confirmation right now. I'll just do it for you. And that's what we've done. So I think when you're reaching out to them, if you're doing the Yeti cooler or the snowblower giveaway, if your 50 best people aren't registered, there's a problem. If your 50 best people, friends, relatives, look at all of your closings for the last 2 years. If those people aren't on there, there's a problem, right? Because the people who already have worked with you and they know you, like you, and trust you, we got to make sure that those people are registered, or a large percentage, because they are taking advantage of it, and you want them. I mean, that's who you want to win. It's okay if the neighbor's cousin's brother's mother wins and has never sent you anything. That's fine. And you'd prefer it to be the client who referred you 11 deals.
And things to do in the future, things that I've learned is, like, some people do movie events where you rent out a movie theater and you don't limit it just to your past clients. You ask them to invite somebody, but then you get all of their information, and now that's how you have. So the same thing with the pie event or with anything really. We had a cooler giveaway. You know, have a friend register, and then you'll get 5 points. They just have to name you, and then they have to give your name, phone number, their name, phone number, whatever. Now they are added to your database. They're going to start following. So that's a way to grow your database.
And I think the smaller events too, like the one thing that we're going to do in the future. So for 2023, our goal is to make sure that each agent can do their own event. You know, so like I want each agent on my team to do their own 20 to 50 person event. The team will pay for it. We do something fun. But they're mini, right? So like the people who have the best luck with events do events that they're like that, right? I don't drink. I'm not doing a happy hour event. That isn't my jam, right? Like that's not my thing. So I would have zero fun doing a happy hour event. However, there are agents that love doing happy hour events. They do them like every quarter, right? For their best 50 people, or they invite different people. And then they have, 10 people this quarter, 10 people this quarter, where they invite kind of their best clients, and they just kind of network and schmooze. Which, I mean, I do that with coffee or something, but like the happy hour wouldn't make sense for me. There's a woman who had one of the best events in terms of like, she made the most money out of anyone. When I went to a class on events, the lady that made the most money doing events, her event was a bad mom's movie. Okay, bad mom. So she was a recently divorced woman who ran a huge divorced women's blog in her state. I forget even where she was, but like she ran a big blog for like people who had just been through a really crappy divorce. And it was like 100% of the people who were in that group were just like her. And like Bad Moms apparently is like a really kind of, it's a funny movie, and it's like perfectly fit for her demographic. And so she had whatever it was, 60 or 70 of these moms from this group all show up for this movie thing that she did. And she got so many referrals, she literally could, like, she had a tough time keeping track of them. So that is gonna work. For me, like, I did this little stupid event, not stupid, but like my tailor comes in twice a year for doing suits, shirts, all that type of stuff. And so we had great intentions of making it a big deal. And it's my fault, I just didn't network it. I didn't push it really hard. Had we actually tried even just a little bit, I would have had a lot more people and it would have been more organized. And so that, I think, is you're kind of like a baby deer your first year you do any event. And so the president of my bank, right, one of my best friends and my financial advisor all got suits, and they all love them. And literally I've heard multiple comments from people. Even though I didn't get a ton of people, I had more people from the office take advantage of it. It was fine. Like, I didn't have to drive to Minneapolis to meet my tailor. When he comes into town, he's always in Minneapolis. He came right into the office. I didn't have much of a turnout, but we didn't push it hard until a few days before.
And again, the whole reason to do these is so that you personally can call and reach out and let people know you care. You know, that's the whole reason for it. The whole reason isn't how many people show up. It is how many people did you meet?
Yeah.
How many people did you have a really good conversation with? Because you know, mailings, texts, emails, whatever, those are all great, but those 4 phone calls a year are the most important. And what's going to get you the referrals and repeat business.
And it cost me. Like I was going to have my tailor guy come anyway. I buy stuff from him anyway. His prices are awesome, better than pretty much anywhere you would go. And now I have a few clients for him that was working. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it wasn't much of an event. And it was really like, I think that's something that you go from maybe there's 3 people and now maybe a few years from now, we have 25 or 30 people at that same event. And like Luetta said, the success of the event isn't necessarily the amount of people. However, you have to have some bait, you have to have some barometer. So I wouldn't I wouldn't not track that, because it is important to make sure that you do get some engagement. Because if you're not getting engagement, then either you're not passionate about it or they are. And you do want to find something that is engaging, because like the Yeti cooler, people love. The grill, people love. Like, people are sharing it, they're commenting, they're posting, they're, they want to get registered. Everyone likes to.
Those aren't events. The events are things like the pie, the culture, or not the culture, the suit thing. Judy's gonna do one at the.
Yes, I've got that focus for September 8th at my apartment. Reserve the throne. Like wine. And then we had a meet on Saturday at the pool. We're there and I stopped.
Yeah, and it's just fun. I mean, it's
I
just
think
like,
it'll be fun. I'm nervous though.
and you like happy hour, you like something, so it's just like, exactly. And so that's the thing, is it's like, do something that is like a good fit for you. Like you and I might say, like, I might do a fishing thing instead. Like, there's certain things that I think would be more fun. My friend actually put together a fishing league, and if he hadn't already done that, like be the organizer of something like that, right? Because now you invite some people that are, it just so happens that all these people happen to have a similar passion to you, which is what makes it fun. If you think about your favorite clients, my favorite clients are entrepreneurs, right? So, I just love working with them. I have a lot in common with them. We have similar, problems and opportunities and all those things. And so I just have a lot to talk about with that person outside of real estate. So think about that. All right, next one.
There's 10 ways to expand your SOI.
Okay, so 10 ways to expand. So we talked about this before, or a little bit alluded to it, the expanding on social media. I think this is a huge opportunity. One of the things, again, I learned on the golf course yesterday. So my friend is a big wig at 3M. All executives, all corporate people rely almost exclusively on LinkedIn. It's amazing. Like, the guy literally makes a connection with this venture capitalist. Like, he's making a connection with a guy that's worth $100 million, and he's like friending him or whatever, because he wants access to this other guy that guy knows, and ultimately makes a connection, all because of this connection on LinkedIn. Thinking, I don't even think about LinkedIn. Like, I personally, as a realtor, don't think about that, but I should, because that lender I'm blowing off that I'm not having lunch with is also connected to, like, his best friend is like the leader of, Target HR, and hires all the people and relocates them into the Twin Cities for the corporate office, right? Like, this is like how we're connected. But corporate people think like that because they think connections, and they think other companies, like, who at this company also does this, and who at this company also does that. So build your presence on social media, but I would challenge you not to think only the social media that you actually look at, right? Facebook will soon become extinct, right? Facebook is already on the way to being the 8-track player, right? Like, it is essentially old people and older that are on it. There isn't anyone under the age of 20 that's on it more than casual. And I would say that that's how most of us are with something like LinkedIn or Pinterest, right? They just kind of like gone away. It just depends on your tribe or where your group is. So if you're younger, and again, I think that 10 years from now, the shift and switch that we as a team need to make is to be on Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. Like, those are the 3 things that I see all my kids on. And those are the 3 things that will take over the 20-year-old and under, which, by the way, in 10 years are all of the buyers and half of the sellers. So, it's just, but this is how fast it's going to shift on us. 15 years ago, there wasn't Facebook. Well, 15 years from now, it might not be around either, or it might be completely different. And so what you look at is, think of your social media, but also think of, like, where is your target market? This needs to be actually very, very, very much about you. This is where we fall down as a company. I'm not into social media. I don't really like it. My wife is like anti-social media, so like she doesn't have an account. She has one that's not private or not public, so no one could even be friends with her, I don't think. but it's mainly just used to share, pictures with their sisters and things like that. So you decide how you're gonna do this, how do you build that presence? But in our business, people wanna know more about us personally. And so we're interviewing for a position right now, and in that part of, the goal is to have that person help me do more personal posts on purpose every single week. Because I'm not necessarily good at it. I'm not like shy. But I just don't think market on social media. But all of our eyeballs, right? All of us are on social media more than you're on pretty much anything else, right? You're on social media more than you're reading a newspaper or watching the news. It's where all of our eyes and our lives are. So it's really important if we're going to build our brand, we got to post regular about our lives. You got to build your brand and post regularly about your interests and things that you like. People don't want to hear about bedroom square footage and house prices. Like that's not anything that they're even remotely interested in. And so unless it's a video of you talking about how that applies to something that's fun, right? Like I just was at a duplex today. It was 250,000. Like we walked in on tenants that were sleeping. Like, have you ever thought of owning an investment? Whatever. Like that might actually get some comments. That might actually get some, right, interaction. Always remember to wear your swag. So, Luetta pointed it out. I mean, wearing your swag or knowing that you're in the business, so the guy I was talking to on the way here, I referred him a piece of business that I met at my dad's restaurant. So I first sold a number of houses. I have a current transaction going on right now, and I can attribute 7 closings in the past year to one meeting where I had breakfast at my dad's restaurant. And my sister, again, back to the people who are placed and kind of in your life, she's obnoxiously vocal, right? She's like really, really loud. Like she's a waitress. She knows everybody. And so I got, this table over here of this couple that, they're super, super quiet and reserved. And me and my 2 boys are sitting here just having breakfast. I'm just thinking I'm there to eat breakfast. But she's networking us together. So all of a sudden I got to be the realtor, right? So I got to go talk to them about the realtor stuff. And I follow up with them the next day, ended up getting a piece of business out of that. And subsequently I've sold all these houses from one connection, right? I was literally in a pair of, whatever, shorts and a t-shirt, just and a hat, having breakfast with my kids. So you're always on. I didn't have my real estate swag, but I have my loudmouth sister who knows I'm in real estate and then share. So talk to people. Strike up a conversation at the gym. If you're, again, I wouldn't call myself shy or anything, but I'm certainly more reserved than my sister. Right? So if you're kind of shy or if you're more reserved, then get around people who aren't, right? If you, the obnoxious loud person in the apartment building, I wasn't pointing at you, I'm suggesting that, like, if you think of the person that lives in the apartment building that is the most vocal there, they know everybody, they kind of like talk about everything. That's the person that you have to have help you MC the event. They're gonna do it anyway. Like you might as well have them have a position of helping talk for 20 minutes about whatever you're going to talk about. They're already going to do it without you asking. So when you ask them, you'll have a little bit less anxiety because right now your biggest thing is, what the hell should I say or do? Because you don't want to do that. Perfect. So partner with them because they're already thinking about it. But you have to have 3 things. You have to go into it saying, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to have these 3 things. What are they? And then you're prepared to talk about those kind of things. Okay, so talk about real estate, talk about the market. How's the market going right now? Right, my buddy, who again will remain nameless, we're golfing yesterday. He's in the mortgage business. He didn't know we were going to have a 1-hour conversation when he asked just how's the market. But I'm super passionate, and I happen to have some ideas about what the market's doing. And so anyone that asks me that question, I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't have any idea. Right? If you don't have any idea, then spend some time around people who actually have a freaking idea. And if you can align yourself with that, then that needs to become what you say. But if you're, again, like a baby deer, when someone asks you, like, what do you think is going to happen with the market? You're like, I don't know. Like, just know that you basically are almost out of the business already. Right? Because that can't be our answer ever. If you literally are just like dumbfounded by the uncertainty of the market, that will be sensed by it. So whatever, like, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying you should believe this or believe that. The market should go this way or that way. Just find your freaking tribe. Find someone online. Where's the market going right now? Find your video that you align with and then believe that. If you don't believe that, then be this mushy amoeba that does like no idea where the market's being and then wonder why. Those are the people that align with you. Those people could never make a decision to save their life. Because let's say that if you believe the market is going to crumble, right? Like the guy that I'm talking to, I know I turned him around 100% yesterday. And that's because I don't believe the market's going to crumble even a little. Do we have a correction? Sure. Is real estate cyclical? Awesome. But that doesn't have anything to do with the fact of like where your life is going. Right? If you want to be a passionate real estate investor and make money, you need to buy real estate. That is the only answer. You cannot actually have any sort of benefit of the market going up or down unless you're actually in the game. You can't just talk about being in the game or getting in someday. Right? So we have to obviously, again, talk to people, but if you don't know what to talk to people about, then find someone you can align with and you can talk about what they talk about. Economists are out there. Different people have different views about what's happening. Join a networking group. That's a huge one. Your networking group, again, if you can't get into a group, like our business kind of sucks for joining networking groups because it's usually the realtor, mortgage, finance guy, and insurance. Like that's the first 4 people in every networking group. So there's not a lot of realtor openings in any networking group. So just go start. Like that's the easiest place to start. Find your insurance guy, find your financial advisor, find, you know what I mean, your mortgage person, right? Start with the people you all, again, go back to your thing. Like I'm gonna build my tribe. Who do you write a check to already? Who manages your money now? Who's your insurance person now? If they're not interested in joining your networking group to help you grow your business, guess what? They're the first one replaced on your list. I replaced my insurance person after 20 years of working with the same insurance person. I asked him to join the networking group. He didn't want to. Boom, I changed. My new insurance guy, yeah, he's the one that is also referring to tons and tons of business. I don't know what his rates are. I don't even know if they're even good. Don't care. Like he gives me so much business I could never shop around. I can't tell him I can never shop around, but I hope he treats me right, but I could never actually check. Right? Because he gives me so much business. So if you're not getting business from the people that are in insurance, mortgage, financial advisor, like think of all the people who benefit out of us. If you're a painter, right? My painter called me yesterday with a referral, and I gave him 2 last week, right? So like if you're giving someone a referrals all the time to do carpet or painting and things like that, are they also referring us? That's kind of, again, start that networking group and find someone that you can align with. That's a huge, huge thing. A lot of people are always looking for like, what's the best networking group? And the best networking group is something that you'll commit to for a long, long time. You got to be consistent. I didn't get anything out of my networking group for years, probably almost 2 years. And now I get tons of deals out of it every month. Asking for referrals, that's probably that's a huge one. Because are we purposeful about the ask? Are we purposeful about the ask? Who do you know? Like I know you and I were talking about investing last month, and it's just not the right time for you. Who do you know that's always thought of investing and wants to buy a new place? Like I literally ran across the best deal. I'm like, I gotta just ask people I know who they know. Like if I have that conversation, you can have that conversation with your brother, your friend, your ex-boss, right? Like I was just thinking of you today. Like who do you know that's thinking of investing in real estate? Right, I got an email from a guy this morning. Yeah, as a realtor, you ever get an email from someone who's just saying they're investing in real estate? Let me know if you find any off-market deals. This is when I got this one. My name is Sven. I'm partnered up with Tom, and we're investing in real estate. So, I mean, the email goes on to talk about like, we want to buy investment properties, we work with you as a realtor, blah, blah, blah. Like, we get this as realtors, you get people who say this all the time, right? I'm unrepresented, you know, so right away, we think, again, are we actually asking? Have you switched to a different page? I'm over on time. All right, well, we'll finish up really fast. But when you're asking people for business, be really purposeful about what you're asking for. Ask for an investor. Ask for something specific. Number 6, utilize your emails. So, I mean, just take your contacts. I mean, I tell people all the time, like, start with your phone, right? You got 200, 300, 400 people in that stupid thing. I mean, we have to figure out a way. The big disconnect on our team is like my phone. I have hundreds, I have probably thousands of contacts in my phone. If I look through just my call log for today, I can probably find someone in my call log today that's not in my database. It's like it ought to be something, there ought to be some sort of software, this would be our invention. We should actually invent something that just scrubs your call log, your email log, your text log to just say, do these people exist in my database? And cross-reference it on a daily basis. We should invent this. Write that down as the idea. We're going to figure this out. Because this is like my biggest struggle, right? This is my biggest struggle is like, I have hundreds of people in my phone that probably they just get missed. You just get missed because are we actually adding them to our database? Number 7, volunteer community functions for a lot of people. Figure out how to monetize this to them, right? Don't just volunteer just to volunteer and then resent the fact that you're volunteering, but you have absolutely no way to monetize the stupid thing. So it's your own damn fault because you've been going to the PTA meetings every single week, but you actually didn't have any sort of plan to turn that into actually helping people buy and sell and move in real estate. And do not do it for that purpose, but make sure that you can articulate in your brain how you could monetize it. Because if you're going to resent being in community involvement, like I say, networking and community involvement is going to take a long time. It's going to take time to build those relationships, and people are kind of looking for someone who really truly wants to help, not someone who's trying to get money out of them or benefit financially.
And when you are volunteering, it looks good from other people's perspectives. So there are many, like the Z generation or whatever they're called now, they really want to work with people who give back to the people. So just having that out there could be your profile.
Yep. Networking with other real estate agents. I think, to me, hands down, like if you're not signed up for Mega Camp, then get your ass in here. Like it is literally the best class ever. I will never miss it. I'm leaving in a couple weeks to go down to Austin, Texas, like 3 weeks or whatever. Network with agents. If you get a lot out of networking with people, like there isn't like the fastest way to be successful in real estate is to cheat and learn all the things the people that are successful are doing. Because they're all willing to give you the tips and tricks. They're just a hell of a lot more willing to do that when they're not in your market. Right? Ultra successful people are typically willing to share everything, and they don't look at us as like we're competing against each other. But it's 100% more apparent when you leave your state and you go out of state for training. Everyone there isn't afraid of it. Right? So you meet these people from, and especially for us in the Midwest, this is the biggest cheat in all of real estate. When you go to these national conventions, all of the people that you talk to, make sure you talk to people from the East Coast and the West Coast, because the markets hit them first. We're always a year or two ahead of every market and always have been, because I'm networking with agents that are getting blasted 3 years before it hits us. The Midwest is like, we're like the last place on earth that the market shows up. So it's like the market hits the East Coast or hits the West Coast or hits Florida, and then we start to see it ripple effect into the Midwest. So that's a huge thing. Network with other agents. Obviously, you can network with other people locally as well. That's an awesome thing to do with people from the office. Number 9, provide real estate information in your neighborhood. This is a huge thing a lot of people have done. We've never been, a big proponent of it, but I think that, again, if you don't have anything smart to say, then join like Keeping Current Matters is pretty affordable, and they give you a ton of stats on a weekly and monthly basis, something that you can share. You can also go on SPAR's website and get all of the same stuff that you can get from the Minneapolis Association, which is all the stats on what's happening. So if you're gonna pull, if you're gonna go door knock a $400,000 neighborhood in Woodbury, because that's where you live, well, then just pull that price range for SPAR, like what happened in the first quarter and the second quarter. The numbers are already updated, you have the stats. And if you're gonna go and do something, well, then just hand out that stats page with your contact information on the back and something about your fun, ice cream event or something. If you're gonna go do open houses, have your thing be, stats about West St. Paul, because you happen to be holding an open house in West St. Paul and you live there. Well, whatever it is, it should just be information that's relevant to like what you're actually doing. And then last, community education, do classes. The lady that I coached down in Rochester, she would do a ton of, she loved doing classes and seminars. And so she partnered with a local community school, and they would allow her to come in and do classes, basically community classes, which they promoted, right? So they get tons of people that would, not tons. They did like a downsizing seminar, an investing seminar, a first-time buyer seminar, which we do those types of things for some larger groups where we'll do seminars, but you can partner with a community education, maybe the local community college, right? Maybe where you went to a VOTech school or something, and they'll allow you to just come in and just talk a little bit about whatever, talk about real estate. I don't know if that, think outside of the box. Like, where do you have connections? Where do you have connections, and how can you actually get involved so that you can, be more involved in the community? Okay, gratitude is the best way to say, there's the best way to get what you want. It's the easiest way to get referrals, show people that you're grateful. Many agents send client appreciation gifts, anything from coffee mugs, lottery tickets. We have a coffee mug plan. It's kind of like our base minimum plan. And that is a coffee mug filled with chocolates or filled with peppermints, depending on the season. You don't want to do chocolates in the summer, right? If you do chocolates this time of year, they just turn into soup in the 100-degree heat in the post office. So we just have a small box that has a nice coffee mug. It's got some packing peanuts or whatever straw around it, and then fill it with candy. It's got a handwritten note that just says, and you send this to someone that you go on an appointment with. You send it when you get a referral. Referrals are the backbone of our business. Luis, we really appreciate you taking the time to refer your cousin. Just know that we'll take excellent care of them, and we'll also be sure to update you in the process. Thanks again for the referral. It's people like you that make our business possible.
And it doesn't really matter what you send again. A lender sends me Starbucks gift card, $5 every single time I refer something, and I don't drink Starbucks. So, but I utilize it. I take that gift card and give it to somebody else. So I get something out of it.
Yep.
So
it's a thought that counts. It costs $5, but it's like
nice.
It's something. The reason that we do it is just because, again, it's so radically undone. And I got the trick from my dentist. I mean, we only started doing it because my dentist did it. And it was like such a big thing that he took the time to tell me. And even our handwritten card is essentially verbatim what he said to me. Referrals are the backbone of our business, blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, it was a handwritten note from him that just said that. And now we've made ours a little bit more streamlined so that it can be done more often. And often I wonder, like, have we streamlined it too much where like it still should be that handwritten?
Personal.
Yeah, it's not as personal. Handwritten cards are a huge thing. Personal emails, text messages, just thanking people. Like every single time you miss the opportunity to tell someone thank you for a referral or for something that they did nice for you, like just showing gratitude is like, it's the easiest thing to do. And probably like the most overlooked by me. All right, that's it. And then last thing I just glossed over was to hand out, like we do a ton of jackets. So North Face Fleece jackets, like nice stuff, right? Like only give out nice stuff that people will wear. Give me your Target jacket or something that like maybe it's fine. Like if you have to do that and you just want to hand out 10 jackets or something, we have done stuff from Costco and Sam's Club. They have some like more like winter jackets that we've done in the past. The North Faces we've done for years because I feel like that's just something that people will definitely wear. I got a text literally from one of my best friends, he's in Canada, and he texted me the other day, chilly morning, and I'm representing, like he was literally cleaning the cabins, like wearing our fleece. And he's a big one, right? So it'll be no surprise. Every summer I get a referral from him from someone that comes into camp, because he's anyone that talks about buying, selling, or investing in real estate that happens to have a home base somewhere near the Twin Cities, he's gonna refer us. So, whatever you can do, coffee mugs, like he has 2 boxes of our coffee mugs at camp, and so I tell him to put them in the cabins when their coffee mugs break. You know, because the coffee mugs, you know how they are. If you have them at your house, you break them every now and then. So I gave him 2 cases of mugs years ago, and he just puts them in the cabins when they break. And so then our coffee mug is in the cabin, which, you know what I mean? They come into the lodge, like people come into the lodge holding the coffee mug. Again, it's just another like, hey, you have one of Jason's mugs. I mean, it's just a dumb conversation starter. So what can you do to hand out mugs to the people that you are the lacrosse coach for, the people that you hang out with at the barber shop, or whatever? All right, that's it for this week. 10 minutes over. Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
good one.
I'm gonna share with you guys used to order like t-shirts and all.
We have a lady that is in my networking group. We can get you her information. I would tell you to Google promotional products and find your own person that is able to be in your networking. Do you know what I mean? Like I would, because use this as an opportunity. Think of it, anytime you're gonna spend money, who can I get in my tribe? Because you're gonna give them a couple $1,000 order. Commission back. Like this, like just start thinking the law of reciprocity, right? Like is your lender got a cousin that's in the real estate industry? Get a new freaking lender, right? Like my lender, Brian, like I'm working with his kid right now. Like there's only one reason my 2 guys are my 2 guys. Because like I've been with them for 20 something years. They ain't giving their business elsewhere. I mean, they do once in a blue moon, just like I give some stuff other places too. Like you're not gonna get everything, but you should at least get something. And so if you're gonna do an order, just make sure like who you're gonna order from matters. And you can order stuff online too. Sometimes with the online stuff, coffee mugs, be careful because the shipping will kill you. So you get a $2 mug and that's neat until you have a $3,000 shipping expense. Because they won't calculate shipping and coffee mugs are hidden. So you can get $2 or $3. Yeah, just order, well, coffee mugs, just order them from a local because they can get them drop shipped on a semi versus you having to get, you know, you can't get 100 coffee mugs drop shipped on a semi. T-shirts, any of that type of stuff. Like right now, think sweatshirts. I mean, you know, by the time you get them back, like T-shirts aren't going to be here. Like, so if you're a sweatshirt guy, a hoodie guy, a zip-up guy, North Face guy, whatever you are, like hand out something you'll actually wear. And so that's, you know, I would say that'd be what I would start with, and then give them out to your squeaky people first. So order 20 of them and just start thinking like, who's your best client so far? Your best referral?
The best preferred, I have a couple that prefer.
Multiples? Perfect. So what size are they? Guesstimate.
Yeah.
And maybe one guy's a hoodie guy and the other one's a North Face guy. Perfect. Then order, like start right off the bat, go on Amazon and order those things, and just my lady will just embroider it for you so you can get them to the guy next week. You know what I mean? You don't have to think like I don't have to order 100. Start with the 3 people you need to show some gratitude to, because that $300 will go a long way. Because that $300 is going to get you like those are already people like they'll find you another one. So start with